I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for
I woke up by the sound of alarm clock ringing. I immediately jumped off from my bed because if I might late again, my boss will probably fire me, as I have seen him kicking the employees out of the office even if they do tiny mistake. I ran to the bathroom and took a bath while brushing my teeth. Once I was done with shower, I turned off the tap and came inside my room. I quickly changed into a tight short skirt with white tank top while putting on light pink overcoat, as it was still cold here in our area. I ran downstairs to the kitchen to check if all appliances like oven, stove, air fryer and toaster were off. When I assured that all the appliances were off except fridge, I walked outside after grabbing my small car keys from the wooden table beside the main door. I walked outside but accidentally tripped and fell on the ground, and I also dumped my arm on the small wooden desk. I took a look at, and it was turned into a purple mark, and it was also bleeding. I fetched out the tissue from my purse and then wiped it off with a painful groan. Cleaning the wound, I locked my apartment and ran to my car, as I couldn't afford to get fired of this job. I get to the office at 5 o'clock, and after 5 minutes I was at my desk. Suddenly someone threw piles of files on my table. I knew who was the person, so a groan left my mouth. It was Miss Jenna, who is a senior here but considers herself as boss' right hand. So she orders other employees as if these 500 employees are working under her. These need to be filed and finished before you leave tonight, she directed, almost yelling on my face. I looked at her in a disbelief, as there were a lot of files. I thought maybe she pointed at some specific file, so I turned my face to her. Which one do you want for tonight? I questioned her. She let out a sarcastic sigh and gave me a weird look before she could form some words. All of them. You know Mr. Jungkook doesn't like lazy people, so do this till tonight. And if you have any problem, then take these files to Mr. Jungkook's cabin and tell him that you wanna resign from this job. Leave Ian. She pointed at Jungkook's cabin, giving me a disgusting look. Saying this, she left my desk and walked to the other desk which belonged to Eunwoo. I knew she went there to her sweet lecture. I burst into a laughter when I saw Eunwoo yawning continuously while nodding his head in yes. After half an hour, I was done with making Mr. Jungkook's schedule. I headed into his cabin after taking his schedule as always. I entered in his cabin after taking the permission. Suddenly my breath hitched in my throat when I saw him yelling at one of his employees. It didn't even seem that he knew I was also present there. Change now, immediately. Who the idiot person would be impressed by this so-called presentation? You are fired. He yelled at him, and his voice literally echoed through the walls. My legs started to tremble by his cold voice. And there fire slipped from my hand and it caught Mr. Jungkook's eyes. He looked at me shocked as hell. You may leave now, he said, buttoning up his coat. The man left after bowing down at Mr. Jungkook while I looked at him awkwardly. Miss Ryan, you here? He said, clearing his throat while sitting on the chair. Good morning, Mr. Jungkook, I stuttered, bowing down at him and then putting the files on his desk. With my shaky hands, I gulped down, taking few steps back. Good morning, Miss Ryan. You don't need to get worried. I won't fire you, and if I ever fire someone, there is a solid reason behind, he said in a reassuring tone. He didn't need to explain anything, but still he did, as he noticed that I was scared. Clearing my throat, I mustered up some courage before speaking. Sir, this is your schedule for the next few days, I said, pointing at the files. Oh, okay, Miss Ryan, by the way, thanks, he said in his unusual soft voice. Here I flattered. Why, he is so handsome. Every time I see him, my heartbeat goes up and up. I don't know why I feel so shy and naive in front of him. He is so close to me, but he is also far away from me, my destiny lover, I guess. Miss Ryan, do you wanna say something else too? He asked, looking at my face. No, nothing. I may go now. I replied, holding my cheeks which were blushing heavily, and walked outside his cabin. You get into your desk and found Eunwoo sitting on the chair waiting for you. Hey Eunwoo, what are you doing here? You asked softly, walking to the chair beside him and then plopped down on it. Why any I was his phone rang, he whispered sorry and answered the call and cut it with a shy smile. Oh my, someone's blushing. Tell me, it was Jessica, right? You asked and he started to blush more heavily. Actually, I'm gonna propose her tonight, so I'm feeling scared. What if she rejected my proposal or if some mistake happened by me? He said, looking nervous. That's great, Eunwoo, but don't be nervous. Jessica likes you too, she told me once. But still my heart is beating like roller coaster, he said and rubbed his. A loud laugh left my mouth, seeing him behaving like a baby. Eunwoo is your best friend and colleague fellow too. You knew him since your childhood as he lives nearby your house. You were really happy when he told that he liked your friend Jessica and you wanted both of them to marry soon. Why and I bought a ring for her too, but I won't show you here. Let's go in the nearby coffee shop. I don't want anyone else to hear, see, and took up wrong meaning of it, he said. You nodded excitedly and got up after setting down your laptop. Eunwoo also stood up, buttoning up his coat, and you both went to the nearby coffee shop. As soon as you entered the small coffee shop, the warm and strong smell of coffee filled your senses. It was usually peaceful and less crowded, but it seemed today was going to be different than usual. There were more customers, maybe because it was cold today, but fortunately there was an empty table. You both walked to the table and then sat down on the chairs. Eunwoo called for a waiter who came to you after 10 minutes because orders were pouring up. Good morning, how can I help you? He asked with a tired smile. A cup of Americano with some freshly baked cookies, he said, smiling. I would have a large bacon sandwich with lots of lettuce and medium-sized pepperoni pizza with lots of toppings. And yeah, please add extra pizza sauce, a cup of hot chocolate with red velvet pastry, you said, smiling wisely. The waiter nodded with a smile and then left. Vayani, why you ordered this much? He asked and frowned. Cause I am starving. I have not eaten breakfast even, that's why rats are running in my tummy, you said, pouting cutely. Ah, my little city. Well, let me show you a ring, he said with a smile, fetching the ring out from his pocket. After studying some important files, including my hectic schedule, I let out a sigh in relief, closing the last file. Right now, I was craving for Americano, so I called on Miss Vian's telephone, but someone else picked it up saying that Miss Vian went to a coffee shop with a guy and that's sent. Who the hell that guy is? I yelled loudly, though I was alone in my cabin. I know I shouldn't react so weird, but I don't want anyone to take advantage of Vian's innocent nature. She's a friendly and makes friends easily, but some people are sweet like honey from the outside, but from inside they are demons, and I don't want any demon to hurt my innocent Vianney. So as soon as I heard that Mayan was in a coffee shop with a guy, I shut down my laptop and then walked busy to the nearby coffee shop. It was quite crowded, so I glanced at every corner carefully and then my eyes stuck on a corner table where Mayan was sitting. I smiled looking at her innocent face, but suddenly my smile turned into a shocking expression when I noticed the guy who was sitting by her was one of my employees, Eunwoo. But the next thing made my feet frozen on the ground when I saw that he was showing her into Vian as if he was proposing her. My hands clenched into a fist and nose flared badly. I couldn't control my anger anymore, so I walked to them, breathing heavily, but stopped when I saw Eunwoo kneeling in front of Vian. No way, is he gonna propose her? My entire body started to tremble where Vian was smiling, looking at him. She was putting her hands on her mouth as if she was shy. Huh? Stupid girl, I walked a few steps more closer to hear what he would say to her. That idiot asked her that he was in love with her and wanted to marry her. Poor me, my eyes got watery and I was about to burst out of the anger. Mobile phone slipped from my hand, sadly catching her attention. Your eyes widened in a shock when you looked at Jungkook. His eyes were teary as he stared at your face for a moment, and then picking up his mobile phone from the floor, he left from there. You didn't get why he behaved like that, so you rushed behind him. You only loved him and didn't want him to think wrong about you. You reached his cabin and without permission you entered in because you knew if you asked him for permission, he won't let you come in. Mr. Jungkook, you said slowly. Leave, he said, looking outside through the open window. No, I won't until you tell me why you behaved like this. You asked, bit tensed. I love you, he said softly, turning his face to you. Your eyes grew wider, wondering what you heard was true or your delusion. He took slow steps to you until there was no more distance between both of you. Your heartbeat raced faster as his minty breath was making you crazy. I know it's all of sudden, but I just can't keep it to my heart anymore. He said, staring into your eyes. You looked at him with teary eyes as you found purity in his words. You didn't think anymore and hugged him tightly. Jungkook's eyes got teary when he felt your tiny hands around his nicely built face. He hugged you more tightly in return. Then after a few minutes staying like that, you broke the hug while he was still grabbing your wrist. I love you and my heart beats only for you. I fell in love with you when I saw you for the first time. I can't even think of anyone else except you, and Eunwoo is just my friend. He likes Jessica, who's my friend too. He is gonna propose her today, so I was teaching him that how he should propose her without any nervousness. He said, looking into his sparkling eyes. Oh, is that so, Ryan? I am also nervous. Can you please teach me how to kiss a girl for the first time? I mean, every time I look at her lips, I just crave. Please tell, he said, making a pout while putting his hands on your cheeks. Your face turned into a tomato. Hearing that, blushing heavily, you pushed him away and ran outside the cabin, putting your both hands on your face, attempting to hide your red cheeks and nose. My happiness is on cloud 9. I can't believe Jungkook proposed me right now. I always thought it was one-sided love, but it's not. He loves me too. I can't express my feelings right now. I wanna tell this good news to everyone. My Mama, Appa, friends, colleagues and everyone in the world. Suddenly Miss Jana came to me while clicking her high heels on the floor. Take these files to Mr. Jungkook's office and also inform him about meeting Lee Wyan. She said, sitting files on my table and then left. Sweat started to drop on my face as I'm also nervous. I'm afraid to see him. What if he asked me for a kiss? What if I failed him in a perfect way? I have never kissed anyone else before, so definitely he will steal my first kiss. Oh my, this thought makes my stomach flutter, but I had no other choice than going to his cabin. So I took the files in my hands and taking a deep breath, I mustered up some courage before heading towards his cabin. I knocked at the door and he let me come in. Wiping off my sweat, I cleared my throat, looking around, but not surely into his eyes. Why and why you ran all of a sudden? He asked, closing the file. Sir, the meeting room is ready and everyone has came. They all are waiting for you, I said, looking down at the floor. Jungkook frowned and then getting up, he walked to me. Something happened. Why you are ignoring me? Why? Please tell me. Don't stay silent. He said, holding my chin up to his level. My heartbeat started to race faster as I looked into his dark, intense eyes. I am afraid, I replied more in a whispered tone, but it was audible enough to be heard by Jungkook. Afraid, scaring you? He asked, looking into my eyes. I am afraid that what if I won't be able to kiss? Good kisser, I said, making a pout. heard Jungkook chuckling, I looked at him confused. Here I'm afraid, and he is chuckling. What happened? I asked, throwing my eyebrows. I'm sorry, but okay. I mean, why you are so innocent, why, Annie? Okay, wait. There is nothing to be scared, okay? I will test you and you will respond me back. It's simple, he said, giving me a soft smile. But how? Before I could speak further, he put his finger on my lips and then suddenly backing it off, he pulled me towards him until there was no more us. And the very next moment, he put his lips on mine and responded back quickly, which made him smirk. We were so lost into each other that we didn't realize that someone was knocking at the door, but soon realization hit me as I pushed him away and ran to the door to unlock it while Jungkook was smirking, looking at me. I opened the door and saw Miss Jenna looking at me with her wide open eyes. Bowing down at her, I put my hand on my lips and then hurriedly ran to my desk, leaving my boss. Mr. Jungkook, everyone's waiting for you in the meeting room, she said, bowing down at Jungkook. Oh, okay, I'll be right there, he said, picking up his mobile from the table only to check if he was still blushing or not. A shy smile crept on his lips when he saw that his face was all red while his ears were turning into a carrot color. Mr. Jungkook, are you okay? She asked, looking at him as he was smiling at his reflection in the mobile camera. Oh yeah, let's go, he said, clearing his throat and then put his mobile phone in his pocket. Then he made his way in the conference room. As soon as Jungkook entered in, everyone stood up from their seat in a way to give respect to Jungkook. He nodded at them with a smile and then sat on the head seat that was in center. Jungkook was about to start the meeting, but he was waiting for you also, as Miss Jenna would send you sometimes in the meeting room on her behalf if she has a lot to. Suddenly the door opened and clicking sound of your heels twitched in Jungkook's ear. His heartbeat started beating fastly as he knew it was you. Jungkook looked up and smile tugged on his lips when he saw you coming towards him. Sir, here's your laptop and USB is also attached to it, you said, placing the laptop on the table. Oh, Miss Ryan, you can sit here beside me as there's no empty seat anywhere else, he said, gesturing you to sit in a chair beside him. You nodded shyly and sat on the chair beside him. During the meeting, you were playing with the file as you were getting bored. It was a board meeting and you had nothing to do with it. Suddenly, the file slipped from your hand and fell on the floor. You let out a sigh and kneeled down while your eyes were on the table and hand was struggling to find the file. Jungkook looked at you confused but couldn't get it, so he continued the meeting. Finally, you found the file as you picked it up from the floor, but suddenly your hand slipped and fell on Jungkook's thigh. Jungkook's eyes widened when he noticed your hand was on his thigh. He said to himself, staring at you. As soon as you realized that your hand was grabbing Jungkook's thigh, you pulled the file up, sweating heavily. Jungkook narrowed his eyes and giving you a smirk, he got up from his seat. So today's meeting ends here. I hope you guys understand every single detail. I will leave now. Miss Ryan, please follow me to my cabin, he said, losing his tie as he was not able to You looked at him with scary eyes and then followed him to his cabin. As soon as you entered the cabin, Jungkook locked it. Mr. Jungkook, I am sorry, the file was dropped on the floor, so you were cut off him. You know, from the time I kissed you, Ryan, I'm not able to stay calm. I'm just getting crazy for you, Ryan, and I can't he said while his heart was beating. You were feeling millions of butterflies in your stomach as you looked at the floor shyly. Before you looked up, Jungkook picked you up in his arms. He said with a devilish smirk.